Hello everybody, and it's time to do the top 10 best-selling light novels in Japan for May 28th to June 3rd. Hello everybody, and welcome to the weekly countdown of the top 10 best-selling light novels in Japan. I missed last week. It's the first time since like July of 2017 that I missed a video. I imagine a lot of other people usually grab this list from my anime list, which of course they've been kind of fully or partially busted for about 2 weeks now, so I wasn't able to get the information last week. It's still not updated on the site, but I decided to try and figure it all out, so I actually went to Oricon, which is the website that my anime list gets that information from. Managed to search around even despite my lack of skills in Japanese and found where they posted the top 10 best-selling light novels, so I can keep doing this list even if my anime list continues to be all busted up. So with all of that said, I do apologize that I missed last week. Like I said, it was pretty lousy for me too because I've had a really good streak, but I'm back and hopefully will not miss another week again unless Oricon's website goes bust, but I don't think that's going to happen. So let's get right into the list. At number 10, with 6,026 copies sold, Yakusoku no Neverland, Norman Kara no Tegami. Promised Neverland, a letter from Norman. This is a light novel spin-off of the Promised Neverland manga, a pretty common thing that we see, especially in Japan nowadays. In fact, there's another manga spin-off light novel on this list later on. This, of course, series has just been announced that it's gotten an anime series that's going to be coming out. Emma, Norman, and Ray are the brightest kids at the Grace Field House Orphanage, and under the care of the woman they refer to as Mom, all the kids have enjoyed a comfortable life. Good food, clean clothes, and the perfect environment to learn. What more could an orphan ask for? One day, though, Emma and Norman uncover the dark truth of the outside world they are forbidden from seeing. I actually really want to check this one out. I've heard the manga can be quite dark, but it seems to be getting a lot of positive spin and a lot of positive reviews, so maybe if I can find it some time to read a manga, I'll pick that one up. At number 9, with 6,092 copies sold, it's a brand new volume number 1, and that is Deokure teimā no sonohigurashi. That roughly translates to Living Behind the Late Tamer. This one is notable because it's the same author as the light novel series I Was a Sword When I Reincarnated, which, you know, given that we've gotten vending machines, spiders, and slimes, maybe this year we'll get swords. We'll see what happens. Anime Expo's coming soon, and I imagine there's going to be a number of licenses come out of that. Synopsis, bear with me, it's a pretty rough Google translation. Ut, which started talking about VR MMORPGs with the start of service, chooses the occupation tamer that uses monsters when he logs in. However, tamer was an unpopular occupation that was considered unsuitable as a strategy from beta testing. Sure enough, he gave up a monster with no combat strength, and Ut, who died 3 times in the beginning of the game, lags far behind the attack group. In circumstances where adventurer does not remain, he puts his hands on production jobs in order to make use of the characteristics of monsters. So, in that horrible sort of broken English, it makes it sound like it's a VR MMORPG type light novel. In this particular instance, the character chooses the trait of Tamer, which I guess allows him to summon monsters, but the beta testing kind of said, well, that's a lame skill that really isn't useful, and so he kind of gets left behind by everybody and lags behind in levels, so he decides that he's going to try and move into production, like crafting, but to do it with a spin in terms of using characteristics of monsters. So there you go. It's a brand new series. Like I said, it is from the same author as I Was Reincarnated as a Sword. And, well, we'll see whether that one continues to be popular or if it's just on the list this week because of the popularity of the author's other book. At number 8, with 6,102 copies sold, volume number 6 of Shuumatsu Nani Shitemasuka, Ichido Dake Aemasuka. What are you doing at the end? Just one more time. Can we meet again? This, of course, is the sequel to, oh goodness, World End. I'm only going to call it World End because it's like, what are you doing at the end of time? Can you save us? Or something like that. I don't know the full title. It's actually coming out in English, that first volume, I believe in July. It was supposed to, I think, come out in the end of June, but I think it got bumped back. But anyway, it is coming soon, or maybe it's the end of July. I guess I should have looked that up. But anyway, we're getting the prequel series to this one. It's coming out in English, which, if it does well, maybe we will get this one eventually. And I could read the description, but it might be big spoilers for World End. So maybe I'll just leave it alone. If you're curious about this title, you can look it up and see what it's all about for yourself. There was an anime based on World End, and I'm not too sure if it covered the whole series or not, because obviously the series, I believe, was complete when the anime was produced. So if you have any idea on that, let me know in the comments below. And like I said, we do have World End coming out in English sometime in the next month and a half. At number 7, with 6,215 copies sold, volume number 5 of Tensei Shitara Deshita. I Was a Sword When I Reincarnated. You know, I find it kind of weird that they release another title by the exact same author within the same sort of close window as their other title. Like, you would think they'd kind of span it out so that but maybe they just figure if they sort of face them together that the newer one will get picked up by people. I'm not too sure. This one, when I noticed it, I was in a different world. I had become a sword. What? I don't get it. The place I woke up was a great plain crowded with monsters. I fly in search of a partner, women only, to be equipped with. Magic stone? I get the skills I absorb? This has become fun! Ha ha ha! Give me magic stones! Yes, that was a joke, but I'll take the magic stones. This is how I became a sword and went to another world. A story of an ordinary minor character otaku. So as far as somebody said that this one focuses more on the girl who actually wields him, although I guess he does provide narration, I'm not too sure. You know what? If you're familiar with this series, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, you know, we've gotten I Was Reincarnated as a vending machine. I'm a spider, so what? Reincarnated as a slime. I try not to bet, but I would almost put money that we get this one licensed at some point this year. At number 6, with 8,361 copies sold, volume 28 of Hidan no Aria, Aria, the Scarlet Ammo. This one, of course, kind of a weird situation. It was licensed, but they only released like 1 or 2 volumes by this sort of weird, what was it, digital manga or something, like some company that I really haven't heard anything about or from in a very long time. They released the first 2 or 3 volumes like years ago, but not so many years ago that the license has probably expired. So it's probably one that everybody is just not able to even pick up. There was an anime based on this series as well. In response to the worsening crime rate, Japan creates Tokyo Butte High, an elite academy where butte, or armed detectives, hone their deadly skills in hopes of becoming mercenary-like agents of justice. One particular butte is Kinji Toyama, an antisocial and curt sophomore dropout who was once a student of the combat-centric assault division. Kinji now lives a life of leisure, studying logistics in order to cover up his powerful but embarrassing special ability. However, his peaceful days soon come to an end when he becomes the target of the infamous Butte killer and runs into an emotional hurricane and outspoken prodigy of the highest rank, Aria Holmes Kanzaki, who saves Kinji's life and demands that he become her partner after seeing what he is truly capable of. At number 5, with 9,926 copies sold, Volume 6 of Sword Art Online Progressive. Yes, it continues to hang in there on the top 10. Really, is anybody all that surprised? And of course, yes, we have this licensed in English. Did Cho just, I think Cho from EnglishLightNovels.com posted not too long ago that Volume 5 has been announced for like October or something like that. So we will get Volume 6 eventually, but don't expect to see it until sometime early in 2019. Of course, there is the anime based on Sword Art Online, the proper series, which I believe in October where you're going to start getting the Aincrad storyline, which we are getting those books already, but it'll be interesting to see how many episodes they do for the Aincrad storyline. If they try to really compress it, which I think would be a shame, or if they do try and stretch it out over a couple of seasons, seeing as how the arc is about 9 books long. This one, of course, is the retelling of the Aincrad storyline from Sword Art Online. Initially in the original series, Aincrad was told basically in one book, and then there were a couple of short stories that were in later volumes. But this one is trying to basically tell it as one big, long, honkin' story. And given that they're already at 6 volumes, and I don't think I know they haven't even cracked 10 floors, it could be a very long time this series is running for, unless Kawahara does some kind of time skip at some point. At number 4, with 12,359 copies sold, One Piece Novel A2. Of course, this is the other light novel spin-off from a manga series. This is the second in the One Piece Novel A. If you remember, One Piece Novel A1 came out a little bit ago. This continues, it is the sequel chronicling Ace's voyage in the New World. The whole idea of this series is their official novels about Porcas de Ace's journey as a pirate. Now, I really know nothing about One Piece. I have to admit, it's not a series that I got into, but we do have the manga and we do have the anime, and it really wouldn't surprise me if at some point we get these light novels licensed as well. At number 3, with 12,855 copies sold, volume number 5 of Last Embryo. Saigo Homura, a youth holding a little unique ability, received a single mail. The moment he opened that mail, Homura was summoned to another world. It was a world ruled by the games of gods and demons called gift games. Homura, who met a lovely Usamimi lolly Kuro Usagi, has unexpectedly ended up participating in a super large-scale gift game. He, along with Ayazoto Suzuka and Kudo Ayato, who were summoned together with him, and Izayoi Sakamaki, who he reunited with after 5 years, will challenge the game of fighting gods and Buddhas that even rolled up the real world in it. I really don't know anything about this series, and I kind of find it funny that this is volume 5, and I'm betting it's got to have been on the list at some point before this, especially having sold over 12,000 copies with this volume, but I can't remember it even a little bit. So if you have any idea what this series is all about, let me know in the comments down below. At number 2, with 16,836 copies sold, volume number 8 of Isekai Cheat Majutsushi, Isekai Cheat Magician. Taichi Nishimura is an ordinary high school student who warped into a different world. In the present age, he is just someone with good reflexes, but in the different world, he is an irregular existence. He wants to return to Earth, but first, he must survive. Along with his caught-up friend, Cheat Taichi travels to a different world. Now, I know that this one has been on the list before. I don't know a whole lot about the series. Again, you know, a lot of the series on the list this week have not been licensed or haven't been licensed by companies that have kept them up. So a lot of titles on here that we don't have yet. Fingers crossed on some of them, particularly what is at number 1, which I know a lot of people want to have released in English. And at number 1, with 17,181 copies sold, volume number 8 of Yokoso Jitsuru Yoku Shijo Shugi no Kiyoshitsu-e, Classroom of the Elite. Kodo Ikusei Senior High School, a leading prestigious school with state-of-the-art facilities where nearly 100% of students go on to university or to find employment. The students there have the freedom to wear any hairstyle and bring any personal effects they desire. Kodo Ikusei is a paradise-like school, but the truth is that only the most superior of students receive favorable treatment. The protagonist, Kiyotaka Ayano Koji, is a student of D class, which is where the school dumps its inferior students in order to ridicule them. For certain reason, Kiyotaka was careless on his entrance exam and was put in D class. After meeting Suzune Horikita and Kikyo Kushida, 2 other students in his class, Kiyotaka's situation begins to change. Now, I know this is a series that a lot of people have been putting on their wish lists and requesting from publishers, and this one, of course, had an anime which did amazing in terms of boosting the popularity of this series. At the time that the anime was out, which was last year, at one point, I think 4 of the top 10 volumes were all from Classroom of the Elite. And what was funny was the one week it was like volumes 1, 2, 3, and then whatever the most recent volume at that time was. I think it might have been 6. In any case, it was that. And then the next like week or 2 weeks later, it was volumes like 4, 5, 6. Like you could see where almost the anime came out, people started buying the earlier volumes, and then once they finished them, then they had moved on to the later volumes because those later volumes showed up in the top 10. So this is one of those series that did incredibly well because of its anime, continues to do very well, and gets a lot of praise from people. So fingers crossed. I mean, we keep saying like this is one we want to see in English, and I know lots of people keep requesting it. So maybe this year, I think we're going to see a lot more licenses announced than we have in any previous years, so maybe this is the year. We will see. In this video, I want to say a special thanks to Kyle Block, Leonardo Bastos, Shotaku, MCF, and Clatters for their support on Patreon, as well as thanking all of my supporters on Patreon. Thanks to them, the Light Novel Podcast is a thing. Volume number 3 of the Light Novel Podcast premiered just yesterday. We are talking about the first 4 volumes of The Devil is a Part-Timer. It has been a lot of fun to do so far. It's been a lot of fun to record. It's a lot of fun to have the finished product, but man, editing podcasts is a lot more work than I thought it would be. Jeez. But in any case, it is thanks to the support of my patrons that I'm able to pay for the extra hosting for that, as well as the website, and continue to also purchase light novels to read and review on this channel. So a very special thank you to all of you on Patreon. And you know what? A special thank you to all of you here and watching, because your support is what really just continues to drive me forward and wanting to do more and wanting to make this channel better and to keep the content coming out. So a very special thank you to you as well. So those are your top 10 best-selling light novels for May 28th to June 3rd of 2018. Like I said, not a lot of titles on the list that we actually have licensed in English, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens, although, like I said, 2 of them are manga spin-offs. I really think that we have a good shot at getting the One Piece novels licensed. Not sure about the Neverland. Maybe, because I mean the manga's licensed and is popular, so we'll just see what happens there. So if you're brand new to the channel and you love light novels, you should subscribe. I do this countdown every single week, as well as reviewing 2 to 3 light novels on a weekly basis as well. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.